Has anyone ever told you that thinking is a skill? The ability to make decisions, to consider different perspectives, to think effectively and respond intelligently. This is called critical thinking. And no, it's not about being skeptical or negative about everything. It's not overthinking, and it's not even related to intelligence. It is simply the art and ability to think effectively, which is considering different perspectives, zooming out and looking at the bigger picture, to question assumptions and not believe the first thing you see. Have you ever noticed how an AI tool like ChatGPT always agrees with you in default? Like when you ask an advice or an opinion, it always says what you want to hear and not necessarily what might be best for you. Well, that's where critical thinking jumps in. It is questioning assumptions, considering alternative perspectives, and basically using your brain to think effectively. And that's what we're going to learn more about in this video today. Art and ability to think like an intelligent human. So let's get started. Now you may ask, if thinking is so important, why don't we just do it automatically? Well, the reason is your brain is lazy. It's set in default to believe in the first thing you see. And these default settings have a name. It's called biases. The first one is confirmation bias, where you look for what you want to believe. So for instance, if you love to drink coffee and you search out, is coffee good for health? So some results on the search engine or browser might suggest that coffee is really bad for your health, you should not have it too often. But the other results might suggest that, yeah, it's fine to have it in regular or limited amount. And you might choose to believe in the other results, which suggest that, yeah, coffee is sometimes or mostly good for health because of so and so reasons. So this is confirmation bias, where you choose to believe in what you already believe and look for evidence that support your existing belief. I hope that's making sense. The second is black and white thinking, where you believe in one of the extreme sides, like either they're completely good or it's completely bad. Either coffee is completely good or completely bad. Another bias is availability bias. Okay, imagine you're having a conversation with your friends or your colleagues or anyone, and you're discussing about whether social media is good for a person, for any young person. And you recently saw an article about how social media is detrimental to a person's health. And you form that opinion that yes, social media is bad for you because you read that article recently. So instead, if you had read another article which is contradictory to the idea that social media is bad, you might choose to believe that social media is good. So you support your opinion or your point of view based on the most recent information you have acquired or based on the recent evidence or belief that you have just formed. So how do you actually stop yourself from falling into the trap of believing in these biases? Well, there's a system called the RIPE system which might help. R stands for understanding the real question. For example, if your friend says, you don't talk too much, you might think that, oh, they hate me. But the real question may be, why do I talk less? Or why did they say that? Or is it true? Instead of letting your emotions carry you away. The I stands for identifying your assumptions, because assumptions often lead to a lot of misunderstandings. For example, if your friend forgot to reply to you, you might think that, oh, they're ignoring me. But there might be other reasons, like maybe their phone died, or maybe they're really busy somewhere, or there could be a lot of possibilities. So instead of following your assumptions or the first thing that your heart says, question on what might be the real situation, basically looking on the positive side. The P stands for probe for evidence. For example, if you feel like you're not good at something, like you're not good at speaking, so instead of assuming that, yeah, I'm not actually good at speaking, look for evidence. Why do I look for evidence? Ask yourself, why do I feel this way? Is this real, or am I just making this up by overthinking again? You know? The E stands for evaluating alternatives, which means looking at different directions or looking at the same thing from different perspectives. For instance, if you see someone looking at you, you might think that, oh, are they judging me? But there could be other reasons to that, like maybe they zoned out, or maybe they like your outfit. So the next time, before you judge people too quickly and misinterpret them and create misunderstandings, here's what you do. Focus on the context. Look at the actual situation instead of just the words. Like, someone might say something a bit rude to you, but the situation might be like they're actually really angry, or something just wrong happened to them, and that's why they're acting that way. So try to be a little more empathetic and understanding about the situation, and not just focusing on the words they say, right? Moreover, intent matters more than the impact. Instead of simply focusing on the words, focus on their actual motive. If someone is giving you a feedback, it might actually be a constructive feedback. It might actually be useful. So instead of thinking that the person hates me and they don't like me and they're insulting me, take it the other way. Take it like, how can I improve myself? Will that feedback be actually useful to me? Maybe they're just thinking about me, right? Maybe they're just my well-wishers. Lastly, don't fake stories. Don't create stories or theories due to your overthinking sessions, which might actually not be true, because I know we all do that. We overthink and end up thinking something that might not actually be true. So offer time for things to happen and explain themselves. If you're an overthinker, you need to hear this. Here's what you do. First of all, separate feelings from facts. We're often too quick to judge or let our emotions carry us away, and we don't look at the situations for what it is. So put that emotional feeling filter aside and look for things for the way they actually are. Look for evidence instead of emotions. Be practical. Secondly, check for assumptions. Check for what you might be automatically assuming. Thirdly, pause before reacting. Don't say something when you're angry, and don't make decisions when you're sad. So instead of letting your heart answer, give your mind the control to do that. Now that we are at the end of this video, all I want to say is critical thinking is not learned in one day. It's the ability to be emotionally mature enough to know about how your emotions are affecting your decisions, on how you should consider alternate perspectives, knowing the difference between your opinion and facts, and looking at the bigger picture really, and letting things explain themselves instead of being quick to judge. And I know we're not often taught about this at schools, or we don't talk much about disability, but it's really important in everyday scenarios. It really affects your relationships, your decisions, and overall your lives. So think smart, think effectively, and have a great day. Thank you for watching.